Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today in this video, I'll be giving you an overview about the work queue item actions in Power Automate Desktop, which is actually added as part of the new update. So in my previous video, I have given an overview around the work queue feature, which was added in the Power Automate Desktop as part of their update. There we have seen how we can create the work queue as well as how we can upload the details from the Excel to the work queue using a particular flow, and how we can process individual work queue items using another flow, which actually was like opening that RPA challenge website and entering the details to the website. So, but now we have got one more enhanced version. Like now we can utilize the two actions which are currently in the Power Automate desktop to work with the work queue items. I hope Power Automate will add few more actions later to interact with this work queue item in an advanced level. So now let's go to the Power Automate desktop to see the two actions that are associated with work queues. So under the action, you can go to the work queue section. Under that, you can find two actions to work with these work queues. One is process work queue items. Second is update work queue items. So let's go through each one by one. So for that, let me open a subflow. Now let me drag this process work queue item. Okay. So what is the use of process work queue item? The process work queue item actually helps to process individual work queue items. Okay. So uh, so here you can see it is asking for work queue. So here we have to pass the work queue ID. Okay. Where you get the work queue ID? So if you go to the work queue page, you can see under the URL, you can see after this work queues, right? You can find a ID. You can just take this one and you can just copy it here. Okay, and now this is what we need, and finally it will produce a variable called work item 2 variable. Actually this is actually a work queue item variable, and it has many properties associated with it, which actually helps to retrieve some data. Okay, so when we use this action, what actually happens is when it starts working, this process work queue item will pick up one queue item, okay, which is in the queued state, and it will make the status to processing, okay, because that means the queue item is being processing. So the status of the queue item will change from queued to processing state. Okay, so that is actually how this process work queue item work, and this process work queue item is a kind of a loop. So you can see here, if I click save, you can see it is a kind of a loop. So this loop will actually run until all the work queue items has been processed. Okay, processed means, in other words, I could say that this loop will run until this loop will run until there are no more queue items in that work queue which is having queued status. Okay, so this is how the process work queue item is working. So now the next action that we are going to look through is update work queue item. So as I told you, when you use process work queue item, the status of that queue item which is being processed will change from queued to processing, right? So when you change from queued to processing, now you want to update it, right? Its status, right? So we like to know that whether it is successfully processed, whether it is whether it has failed to process. We have to update its status accordingly to understand whether it has successfully processed or not. For that, to update its work queue status, we'll use this activity, that is update work queue item. So this update work queue item actually helps to update the work queue items to a specific status. Like you can see here, you have to pass the work queue item variable here. So here, yeah, there are two items because I have one more flow already ready. That is the reason. Here we have defined work queue item 2, right? We'll take this one and we will set the status. Either we can set the status as processed or generic exception. Process means it is successful. So if it is a generic exception, you can select generic exception. If you are selecting process, you can select processed. And processing result. Processing result means whether you want to add some processing nodes. So in the work queue, you can see one processing nodes, right? This is a section it is going to add. Okay, you can add any notes regarding like this transaction. Okay, or in the case of exception, you can add the exception details as well. Okay, so this is about update work queue item. Both are actually in the preview stage. I hope Power Automate desktop will have more actions to work with work queue items, like adding work queue items directly from Power Automate desktop to the work queue. That is also a very nice thing as well if they add it. So I hope they will add those in the future updates. So now I hope you got an idea about the two actions that are currently in the Power Automate desktop. Now, for this purpose, I have developed two flows to show you an example. So this example is very simple. Like as my previous video, I was using the RPA challenge website, right? The same website I'm going to use here, but this time it will be better because last time the issue what I was facing is I have a performer workflow which will run, which is actually a manually triggering flow. So what happens is whenever I trigger it, it will open it and it will take one queue item and then it will process it. So every time I have to press trigger so that it should pick up one queue item and run. So, but this time it is fine because I have two flows here. One is a dispatcher flow, as you can see, and this dispatcher flow is similar to what we have seen. If you have seen my previous video, okay. So here first, it will pick up all the rows from this particular Excel file. This is challenge.xlx where it has all the details of the fields which need to be filled in the RPA challenge website. And next is it will select the required columns from that particular output, that is a value output. Then what it will do is it will add that each row, right, to the particular dataverse table, that is work queue items with the GUID. GUID means the unique a unique string, I would say, that is actually appearing here. You can see whatever appearing here is, right, that is actually the result of this expression GUID. It's a global unique identifier. Now we'll pass the work queue ID. You can see here by this format slash work queues. In the bracket, we'll pass the work queue ID. Then I'm passing an expiry date as well. You can see here there is an expiry date also. So what does this expiry date means? Beyond this expiry date, this item will be deleted. Okay, it doesn't create any kind of priority, but just like to make sure that this item is not present after that. I hope this Power Automate can also, this Microsoft can also add some priority also, like some high priority, low priority option as well, so that we can process based on the priority also. And also they can make this priority based on this expire column as well. Like those who are actually going to expire first, they should be processed first. I think these are some of my feedbacks regarding like what they can do better in future. So now you can see here we are passing the expiry date. I'm just adding 1 hour from the current time. And now I'm passing the input. So input is a current item, which is itself the JSON array. Okay, you can see here, if you open anything, you can see there is a JSON array, right? I think it will get open. You see this JSON array. Okay, that is what we are passing as the current item. And then the status, that is queued. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. And now what I'm going to do here is okay. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run this process so that I can upload the items all again to the queue. Okay. From the same Excel file, I will upload all the items again to queue. So I'm just going to run this process. So this flow. And this flow, I have named it as a dispatcher flow because it is dispatching all the items from the Excel to queue, right? So I'm just doing that. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It has already uploaded all the items. Let's see in the queue status. Yeah, you can see here items has been uploaded, right, with the queue status. Now what we can do is I already have the performer workflow also designed. It's just like running the same desktop flow, something like this. You can see. Mm, You can see here just a desktop flow. Okay, but currently what I'm going to what I will demonstrate it through the this particular flow itself directly by running the flow from here so that you can understand how this work queue item concept works at all. Okay, so here this is my flow, which is actually a simple like data entry process which will open that RPA challenge website, enter the details by processing individual work items. So let's see how it actually works. So first thing is, see, so yeah, I have designed in based on subflows based on the best practices because that is quite better for testing purposes and all. So what I have did here is you can see here. First, what I'm doing is I'm running this subflow. Open RPA challenge website. So let's open that particular this one. So you can see here. First, I'm killing a process. So I'm running another flow which kills the process. Like any, if there is any already Chrome process being opened, it will kill that particular process so that it doesn't get disturbed. And now I will launch the new Chrome. Like I'm launch a new Chrome session with this particular URL rpachallenge.com. Now what I will do is there's a start button. So before starting to work on it, I want to make sure that the website is loaded properly or not. So I'm using this one and I have add some kind of retry so that if it doesn't appear, it will retry for 3 times, then it will throw the error. Now once that web page, that start button has properly appeared, it means that the website has appeared. That's what I'm assuming. I will click that start button so that I can start the challenge. Okay. So this is about Open RPA challenge workflow. Once this is done, it will go to get work item. So in the get work item, what it will do is you can see here, it will process each individual work item. You can see here, it will process each individual work items. And I told you it is a kind of a loop. So this loop will run until the work there is work items with queued status. Okay. So now in that I have added a exception handling as well. You can see, right? Why am I added a exception handling is, see, if any so these are actually the process itself. You can see this is the entry process, like populating the data into the particular field. So why I added this particular on block error, that is the error handling part, is if any error happened while processing a work queue item, I want to set the work queue item status as process, sorry, generic exception, right? So that business or anyone can know that that item has failed due to some issues with the error message. For that purpose, I have added this on block action. So on block error. So let me open this on block error. So you can see how I'm handling that error. You can see I'm running a subflow. Like whenever any exception happen, I'm running this subflow, setting the work item status. Okay, so I will, if I open it, you can see here. So what it will do is it will first check whether there are any error or not, and it will capture like whether any error happened or not, and it will capture in the last error variable, and after that it will clear that error so that it won't appear again. Now it will check whether there is any error or not. If there is no error, it will update the work queue item. Like if there is error, it will update the work queue item. You can see here with the details, right? Because this last error variable has a lot of properties associated with it. So it will update it accordingly. Else it will update the work queue item status as successfully processed. Okay. Now within the exception handling, what we are doing actually. First, since this I told you with this work queue item, right? If I open the variable panel, this work queue item variable has many properties associated with it. One is ID. ID means the work queue item ID, and the work queue ID means the ID of the work queue, which we have seen earlier, right? I think here this ID. That's what I'm talking. And next is what name. Name means that column, right? In that name column, you can see this column I was talking. And next is processing nodes, whether there are any processing nodes, and like the processing nodes. And next is value. Value means this value will be actually the JSON array. Okay, so the JSON component. If you use this JSON component, right, that is a value. You can see this JSON component would be the what will be appearing in the value, and it will be in the JSON string format. So what we have to do is we have to convert that into what? A custom object in Power Automate. So that is what we are doing here. Okay, we are actually taking that work queue item dot value that is in the JSON string, and I'm converting into a JSON a custom object that, and the output will be stored in the employee detail variable. Now what will happen? We'll populate each data into each particular field by specifying the key name, right? Something like this we are doing. Similarly, we are doing up to for phone number. After that, we will click on the submit button. And once we click on the submit button, we will again run the work queue item status, because we already have a condition, right? If there is no error, it should set the status as success, else it should set the status as exception. Okay. Now what it will do is it will end that, and now once it's done, it will finally take a screenshot of the website, like screenshot of the website as a final purpose, and then it will close that particular browser. And under this main block, we have also handled, like if any error happen, it will close that particular browser, and then it will throw the error. Okay, so now this is how what I would say the process is actually working. Mm, let's try to run this process, because already we know, right? We already have some items in the queue, so we can just do a simple run to see how the bot actually works. So let me run it. We, I think you can see here how things are working. Yeah, yeah, it is typing. Yeah, you can see here it is entering those details. Mhm. So it is taking individual items from the work queue, and it is processing it. You can see here. So this is like a loop I told you, right? So yeah, you can see it is like a loop. It will still continue until all the work queue item with queue status has been processed. Okay. Maybe I can make this workflow better by like handling restarting the like Chrome in case of system exception and all. But for this demo purpose, I just did like this. You can make it more better. You can see it is working up. Okay, just going to take the last item. Yeah. Mhm. Now it will take a screenshot. Yeah, it will take a screenshot of this one. Mhm. And it will end the process. Now let's go to the work queue item. We have to refresh it all time. Maybe I think they should keep some refresh button in their top panel so that we can refresh the queue item, like something like here. That would be good. You can see the items has been processed, right? Auto items we have added, it has been processed. Okay, and you can see the processing notes which we have added, right? in the workflow, that is also being added here. So this is how the this action actually works. This process work queue item as well as update work queue item. Now we can see. So now we can see how it will add the error details as well if you want. Okay, maybe what I will do is I will try to change, like maybe I will try to change the process state to, let's say, cute. Okay, and I will run the process bot again. Okay, okay. Mm, I will run the bot again. Yeah, it is opening the website. Okay, so I will close this. Oh, I think it's better. I should have opened it. Oh, sorry. Actually, I think I should close it when I'm processing a queue item so that it would be better. So that I can show that exception. To throw some error. Yeah, it is updating it. Perfect. Yeah. Actually, I think, oops, I think I'm, okay, so it is handling it as well. Now you can see here, status. You can see it is exception, and you can see the processing notes, like fail to write in the form of text at field or code at populate text field action on the web page, right? So I think that is fine. Mhm. And actually, I should have made the logic more better because I shouldn't have added that take screenshot part earlier, because it should be added only if this action was successful. That was fine. I think so. That's all about how this work queue item actually works in Power Automate. Hope you have got an idea like how you can work with this work queue item actions in the Power Automate, and I would recommend to give it a try. And I also hope Microsoft will add some more good actions for this for working with this work queue items in the future. So that's all. Thank you, everyone.